So we're going to dive into the law of oneness. Everything in this universe is interconnected by this invisible thread of energy and consciousness. Okay? Every action, every thought, every event is connected together. Right? Our individual lives are not separate from the collective. Okay, so no action, no thought, no event occurs in isolation. Every element of existence influences and is influenced by the whole. Okay? And we talk a lot about this when we raise our vibration, right? We raise our level of consciousness. We can help change the world. We can change humanity. And we're going to dive into that very soon, right? Some of the sciences behind that. It's really awesome. Okay, so we understand that we need to dissolve this illusion, right? We have this illusion of separation. Okay, that we're all separate, but really we've seen through quantum physics and a lot of these laws and science that we're actually connected. Okay, each of us is like a wave in the ocean, unique and distinct, yet part of the same vast body of water. Okay, so there's some science behind it, right? Quantum entanglement, which we've discussed quite a few times. Particles can become instantaneously connected regardless of the distance. When one's particle state changes, the other one adjusts simultaneously, although they are part, as though they are part of a single unified system. Okay, so there's space and time and no barriers in the quantum field. Everything is connected. All right, so some Japanese researchers studied the Japanese quarry monkeys. Right, these bloody monkeys, they keep getting all these awesome studies, right? So they observed these monkeys and they observed that one young monkey began washing sweet potatoes before eating them. Over time, other monkeys on the same island copied the behavior. All right, monkeys on the same island started copying the behavior. What do we know? As more monkeys adopted the new habit, it gradually spread through the group. All right. The story goes that once the 100th monkey adopted the same behavior, all the other monkeys on nearby islands began demonstrating the same behavior as well, without ever coming into physical contact. All right, without ever coming into physical contact. Monkeys on the other island started adopting the same behavior. They started washing their sweet potatoes before eating them. What's going on here? How did they get it? Did a monkey find his way across? Right? There's a lot of people that speculate and trying to find out reasons how this happened. Okay, and this became known as the 100th monkey effect. Some of you may have heard this before. Okay, so if we have the ability to change ourselves and our own behavior, obviously that's going to have an effect on people in our environment. And wow, what happens if we get to this so-called 100th monkey effect? Well, we can potentially affect surrounding environments, right? Hence having an effect on the collective consciousness. All right, let's dive a little deeper. All right, the Maharishi effect, okay, is a hypothesis proposed by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He's the founder of Transcendental Meditation. Okay, it suggests that when a critical mass of people meditate together with a shared intention, measurable positive changes can occur in surrounding community. Okay, the Maharishi movement proposed that when a square root of 1% of a population meditates together, measurable social effects may occur. Okay, this is what they proposed. One of the most cited examples occurred in 1993 in Washington, D.C. Approximately 4,000 meditators gathered over an 8-week period to practice transcendental meditation and focus on reducing violent crime. Now, what happened during that period? Well, researchers reported that during that meditation period, violent crime decreased by about 23% compared to predicted levels. So to reduce the crime rate, 4,000 people getting together, focusing on the one thing to reduce crime, and they reduced crime. Coincidence? Okay. So human beings are biologically and socially interconnected systems. Right? Modern science supports this principle, showing that when roughly 10% of a population adopts a new belief or behavior, the rest of the group can rapidly follow. 10%. This is through modern science. So once critical mass adopts a new belief or a new behavior, the wider system can shift rapidly. Okay, this is a phenomenon known as a tipping point dynamic. So when we talk about changing ourselves, changing the world, well, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually doing this. So when individuals regulate their nervous systems, elevate emotional states, and embody new behaviors, these patterns spread through networks via social contagion, modeling, emotional transmission, and network tipping points. Okay? So we regulate our nervous systems, elevate our emotional states, embody new behaviors, have new belief systems. These patterns spread through networks via social contagion, modeling and emotional transmission, and also network tipping points. So when we change our frequency, change our vibration, we have an effect on those in our environment. And I've seen this take place. When I first got into all this many years ago, I wanted to help so many people. I wanted to teach them meditation. I wanted to help them quit cigarettes and get off the alcohol and do this and do that. And I realized I couldn't force people to do it. And I needed to just do the work myself, focus on me and lead by example. When I did that, it had a huge rippling effect on my family and those who were close to me. They started to adopt similar belief systems. They started to adopt similar behaviors, right? And awakening started to occur. So when we raise our state of vibration, shift our beliefs, and embody new behaviors, we influence the collective field around us and the consciousness of humanity. This saying might seem initially, when we see it, think, oh, it's a bit hocus pocus, but it's true. It's just the language that we're using, right? It's all it is. It's just a different language. We're interpreting it differently. Before, we're talking about the human biofield. One person can say aura. Oh my God, and we use this, it's the same thing, but we use different language, and people start to change their belief around it. Right? It's an electromagnetic field. As soon as I use that language instead of using aura, all of a sudden it becomes more viable, right? It becomes more real. There's science. So when we change the language behind things and we start to see and understand this science and look into this stuff a bit deeper, a lot of this information you have to go and find. It's not mainstream, right? All this little science, it's out there, but we have to go find it, right? And when our reticular activation system changes, we start to see it. We will find it. It's there. The needle's in the haystack. Right, so we have this power when we change our frequency. And this really, you know, if we get to a certain point, whether it's at 10%, we can have a huge impact on the consciousness on the planet. We don't need the whole planet to become enlightened for the planet to change. We only need a certain amount of percentage of us to change our behaviors, our vibration, our beliefs, and we can have a huge rippling effect on humanity. Huge. But what do we know? There's a lot of things that take our attention. We've talked about consumption, right? Things that we focus on. Right? There's media. Right? There's a lot of negative media out there. What happens when we're focusing? Energy goes. What we focus on, it's what we're sending energy towards. So if we're focusing on certain events, right, in the world, we're starting to co-create that. Right? So there's a lot of people that consume certain information. which has an effect on what? Their thoughts, has an effect on their beliefs, has an effect on their emotions, their state, their vibration, has an effect on their reality. We know the cycle, we know the way it works. All right? So this is us all doing our part to create change in this planet. Right? As crazy as it sounds, who am I to help change the world? Well, one person at a time. Right? We have a huge, huge rippling effect. Okay, so there's also some quotes in the Bible about the law of oneness, that all of them may be one Father, just as you are in me and I am in you. May they also be in us, so that the Word may believe that you have sent me. Okay, emphasizes the unity of all creation with the divine. Okay, another one here. Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. Okay, illustrates the unity of all individuals within a collective body. We are distinct yet deeply connected. Right? There is one body and one spirit, just as you are called to one hope, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. Right. Some interesting descriptions in the Bible there, talking about this. Needs to be decoded. Okay, so when we act with the understanding that every decision we make impacts the greater whole, we know our frequency, our choices have a huge rippling effect. And you can imagine the universe is a giant spider web. Right? When we touch one part of the web, the entire web feels the vibration. Okay, same with our thoughts, our actions, they ripple through the universe, affecting everything. All right. So we all have the power to go and change the behaviors of the monkeys on the other island. All right, we can do this. It doesn't take a lot of us.